Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my November TBR. October has not been going as a really good reading month for me because I started with The Night Circus in October and it did not end up really well for me at all. It took 10 days for me to read that book, and at the end I just became a bit slumpy and I was not at all able to read any of the books which I picked up after that also, even though they were good. So I've just selected 7 books for my November TBR, and all of these books are those which just interest me the most. Since it's non-fiction November, I've also added 2 non-fiction books which are memoirs, and I'll be talking about them in the beginning of the video. For both those books, I've actually got the Audible audiobooks, which are narrated by the authors themselves. So the experience of listening to the memoirs narrated by the authors themselves will be definitely good, and I think it will boost my reading mood also. Last year for non-fiction November, I actually read 12 non-fiction books, but I don't think it will be happening this year because I'm not that much in a non-fiction reading mood, and I don't want to force myself to read non-fiction and end up getting into a reading slump. So without any further ado, let's get into the books right away. Let's start with the memoirs. The first one is Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. I've actually watched the movie for this book, which stars Julia Roberts. And watching that movie just made me feel so happy. It was a really slow-paced and lush story which just needed all the time from a viewer in order to give us that complete experience. So I'm expecting a lot from this book because I don't think everything from a book can be translated as such into a movie. Eat, Pray, Love is actually the author's memoir in which she was in this particular stage in life in her 30s where she got divorced and was in a short-term relationship with a person. And after that, in order to just heal herself, she goes on this 1-year vacation which starts in Rome, and after traveling in Rome, she comes to India and spends some time in an ashram, and from India she goes to Bali where she finally discovers peace. I've heard nothing but really good things about this book, and also after watching the movie, I just feel that if the movie was that good, the book must be many times better than that one. Since I have the audiobook also, which is narrated by Elizabeth Gilbert herself, I think this will be a really good read for the month of November. Let's just wait and see. Next we have The Audacity of Hope by Barrack Obama. I actually have this one as well as Dreams from My Father by Barrack Obama also in my shelf. I have not read that book yet. I want to start with this one because I've seen many people recommending this rather than any of his other books. Rather than anything, I'm a huge fan for his speeches because I've just seen him as a speaker in multiple videos and I've been inspired by the way he speaks more than the thing that he speaks about. I definitely want to enrich my speaking capability in such a way, so I'm very much interested in reading this book. I think this was also written before he became the president, if I'm not wrong. I might be. So yeah, this is my second memoir for the month. Next we have the final book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and it is The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. I can say that the journey that I'm embarking when it comes to the Lord of the Rings has been wonderful. Okay, I did not expect to have such a great experience while reading these books. By the time I'm filming this video, I just have 1 week for October to end, and I've not even finished half of the second book yet. But the place where I'm in the second book is very wonderful and it just makes me want to read more. So I'm very confident that I'll be finishing the second book by the end of October. This is definitely one of my dream series to read, so I'm so happy that I've reached this far in the series, and this I think is the biggest of all the 3 books, so it'll definitely take a lot more time compared to the first 2 books. And after finishing this one, I also want to get to all the other books inside the Middle Earth series itself, like the Silmarillions, the Unfinished Tales and other such books. I've not done any research on any of the other books because if I do that, I'll be intimidated and I'll not end up finishing the series. So my first goal is to just finish the Lord of the Rings and then go for the other companion books and series inside the world itself, because I'm very much in love with the way in which Tolkien actually creates and builds this world around us and makes it feel like an actual real place. I just hope that some place like this exists on Earth and I visit it someday. I'm sure that I'm going to enjoy this, and also very sure that it's going to take a lot of my effort. So let's wait and see how it's going to go. Next one is a romance, and it is One Day by David Nicholls. If I'm not wrong, this book also has a movie adaptation. I've not seen it anywhere, but I know that it exists. Now this deals with Emma and Dexter, who met during their final day of college, that is during their graduation, and after that they just part ways because of the way in which life takes them. Now that particular day when they met was a happy as well as sad day for them because they are ending their college, which gives them sadness, and they are starting their actual real life by stepping into the real world, so that makes them happy. That particular day during which they met is the actual focus of this book, and what happens during that particular day in all the successive years is the actual story of the book, if I'm not wrong. The main story actually happens, I think, at least a decade after that particular day in which they met, and how their life is going to progress on for the rest of the time. I've actually had this book for quite a while on my shelf. I think it's been there for at least 2 to 3 years and I've not at all been successful in reading it. I've actually tried picking this up 2 times and both times I just got through 10 or 15% of the book, and after that I'll just lose interest and keep it away. But it was interesting for that first 10 to 15%. It was just that I was not in the mood. So let's just wait and see if I end up reading this or not. Next one is a literary fiction, and it is Everything Under by Daisy Johnson. This is a book which was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 2018. And fun fact, I found this book from one of the book subscription boxes which I follow online. One pro tip which I'll give you guys in order to find good book recommendations while they are released itself is to follow book subscription boxes, because the books that they add to their boxes are always good. I'm not talking about any particular subscription box, I'm just talking about them in general. I follow a lot online, but I don't purchase any of them at all. But the books that they add to their subscription boxes are those which are mostly bought by me online from different other stores. So you can try that tip if you're interested. Now, this book deals with Gretel, who's actually a lexicographer right now in her adult life, and she has not seen her mother, whom she grew up with for the past 16 years, and that has shaped her life in a different way. Now, she receives a phone call which just makes us relive this past life inside her head itself, and because of multiple reasons, she has to go back and revisit the place in which she grew up, and she gets entangled with all these memories from the past. I just purchased this one this year, but I've been wanting to read this for at least 2 years now. It is also really short, so I'm definitely sure that I'll finish this in November. The next one is an illustrated book, and it is And the Ocean Was Our Sky by Barrack Ness. Now, this is also one book which I found because of book subscription boxes, and Barrack Ness has been one author whose work I have enjoyed a lot in the past. I've actually read 3 of his books before. The first one was A Monster Calls, and after that I read Release, and after that I read The Rest of Us Just Live Here. All those 3 books were 5-star reads for me, and the supernatural touch that he adds to each and every one of his books is my favorite part. I don't know how it is going to work out in this one, because this deals with a group of whales whose leader just decides to attack a man ship, and while they're attacking that man ship, they come across some supernatural being, and an endless war between humankind as well as the whales starts. That's the actual premise of the book, if I'm not wrong. So that itself sounds very dark, and I think it'll just match the mood for November very well, because where I live in November, it always pours down continuously and the days are always dark and gloomy. I think this kind of a book will just suit that mood perfectly, and I also trust Barrack Ness very, very much. So super excited to read this one. The last book in my TBR is Picture Perfect by Jodi Picoult. If you've been following me, you just know how much I love the first book that I read by this author, which is Lone Wolf, which I read in May. I've been raving about that book ever since I finished reading it, and I think everyone needs to read it because it is such an underhyped book, and from that single book itself, I just trust the author really, really much. She has a very long backlist, so I want to explore all the books that she has written so far. So from all those books, I have this one alone on my shelf, which I have not read, and it is Picture Perfect. Now, this deals with a woman who finds herself lying unconscious in a graveyard, and when she comes to her consciousness and everything comes to light, she is found to be the wife of the most famous Hollywood actor, and she lives this very picture perfect dreamlike life which just feels like a fairy tale. But after some time, what happens is the reason for her unconsciousness and the memories that she has had before just start surfacing, and she has to question each and everything that is present in her picture perfect life. It sounds very interesting and intriguing at the same time, so my aim is to finish it by November, but I'm going to at least try and start it. So yes guys, those are all the books in my November TBR, and don't forget to leave your November TBR in the comments below, because I'd like to know what are the books that you're going to read in the following months. And if you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.